all our friends, and welcome to We're All Fine, the podcast that provides unsolicited advice and opinions from totally unqualified people. I was going to say unqualified and tired people, because I wanted to be honest in our description.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. What makes me qualified to have a podcast? And truly, I told some possible future guests that we will have that my qualification is that no one can tell me I can't. So that's about it.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Do you need anything else other than because I can?
I don't think I do, but that's enough for me.
You're like, somebody gave me a microphone and a platform to share my thoughts.
Here I come.
That's all that needed.
Yeah.
Boom.
I've got a lot of opinions. I'm opinionated AF.
Well, that's the kind of attitude you should have for today. Because today we're talking about how to navigate, deal with, and handle anger. And specifically anger at other people. And I'm not talking about the kind of anger and rage that you see on Why Women Kill or Snapped. Although sometimes it feels like you're dangerously close to that. But this is the kind of anger where you're like, if I were a lesser person, I might be pulling some hair. I could perhaps punch this person in the face, gangster style, and walk away.
Yes. I could slash 3 of their tires just for the most inconvenient.
If you were a lesser person.
If I was a lesser person.
Right.
I haven't. I've never slashed tires. I've thought about it.
Well, and that's probably one of the best things about dealing with anger is what we think about to get us through it. And we've talked about pettiness. We've had a whole episode on petty. But dealing with anger is not always about petty. Petty doesn't always, there's not really ability to deal with anger through pettiness in the moment. So I guess today's episode is really, how do we not kill others in social situations? Quick question. Do we have an It Could Be Worse for this one?
It wasn't hard to find one. It was hard to narrow it down. Because I wanted people to feel justified in their anger, but then also a good reminder as to why we don't Karen and Ken out and why we don't lose our shit in public because there's no reason to. I mean, I was scrolling through Reddit and within 2 seconds, I found people that were mad at young workers at grocery stores because they wouldn't let them commit coupon fraud, and
those monsters,
that 17-year-old who says no, I'm so sorry, we can't accept these coupons that are clearly not real.
Animals.
And yeah, I mean, I found things where it was employees. It wasn't only just customer service people, but people with their coworkers losing their minds. One guy, I guess, broke the printer, the community company printer, because it just wasn't working correctly.
That totally makes me think about Office Space.
Office Space, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But I guess his personality wasn't good enough to where people were like, yeah, Jeff, fuck up that printer.
Who the fuck is PC Load Letter? If you guys don't know that reference, you have to watch Office Space.
You have to watch Office Space. It is one of my favorite things in the world. The red stapler.
Yes.
I can't. Every time I see a red stapler, my whole life gets a little bit better.
That is a full instruction manual on dealing with stress.
Yes.
And anger. Yeah.
Right? Here was one that I could relate to. So Colorado Springs recently, or Colorado, we passed laws to stop having plastic bags because they're terrible for the environment.
Right.
And I voted yes, let's get rid of the plastics. And I forgot how irresponsible I am. Because I have a shit ton, an exorbitant amount of reusable shopping bags.
Yeah,
Are
you
they,
and everyone else in town.
yeah. And are they ever in my car? Are they ever at the store? No, no. So it's an irritant, right? I get irritated, but I'm not upset at anyone but myself. It could be worse. I guess maybe this one's for me because there have been a couple times where I get up there and I have all my new treasures, and my card approves and I'm like, I'm a fucking winner. And then I realize I have to somehow like create a stick and bindle to of all my new treasures to get to my car because I don't want to pay and I don't want to do that. And
Yeah,
I
because that
voted
extra
for
10
this.
cents,
Yeah,
that's more of a principal issue than it is
right.
paying the 10 cents.
Well,
Right.
and I didn't realize that paying the 10 cents meant for a paper bag. Like, I thought it was going to be a punishment. Like, oh, you didn't follow the rules, so you have a plastic bag and you have to pay for the fact that you used that. No, it's for paper, but that's okay. I'm still very glad that this has gone in. I feel like we're saving animals. I'm cool with it. But can I tell you how many times I get to my car and I'm like, oh, fuck, be better, Carley. So this person says on Reddit, Pizza Guy 87, if you're listening, hello. I promise I will never treat you this way. This person says, I was an assistant manager for a thrift store. It was a busy Saturday, and I got called up to the front register. I get up there, and here's an older Karen who is obviously pissed off. I begin my spiel. Hi, how can I help? And am cut off. You charging for bags is ridiculous. There was a recent law that passed that any plastic or paper bag is 5 cents. I stare at her for a second because I couldn't even register what the issue was. So she says it again, and I look at her and say, do you think I implemented an entire company to charge for bags? You know that this is a state law, right? Again, this is ridiculous, is said, getting angrier by the moment. Ma'am, I have no control over what laws are passed. If you have an issue with it, contact your state representatives. And I chose to walk away.
Wow.
Yeah, so it could
That's
be worse.
inspirational.
Right. It could be worse because you could be the Karen that's like, brah, I am slightly inconvenienced because of a greater good. But you could also... But you can also be Pizza Guy 87 and say he empowered her. Literally said, if you have a problem with this, in a democracy, your voice can be heard. Contact your local representatives, and walked away. That is
Beautiful.
the nicest fuck off I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I mean, that beats bless your heart.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I want to say that all the time now, even when it doesn't actually pertain to anything. When someone pisses me off or if they tell me that I did something wrong, contact your local representative.
I kind of like that. Just, I'm thinking about all the different contexts in which I could use that. So I feel like maybe some of them not appropriate. So if someone's screaming at me in a parking lot,
yeah,
because of my parking job, which is usually atrocious,
yeah,
but I say contact your local representative,
right?
And get in my car and go.
When my child is mad at me, you're so mean, Mom. Contact your local representative.
Yeah,
this is my new Pizza Guy 87 coming in hot.
I love it.
I do too. This is going to be my new thing. Watch out, world. I will empower you.
Well, that now I can tell you like my special saying to help me get through, which I'm now going to add to it. Contact your local representative. But so, Carly, I was showing you earlier. I'm wearing this little bracelet.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you what this is. So right now I'm in the middle of recital week for dance, and I am actually delighted that I get to be one of the backstage parents, which is awesome because it like keeps me busy and I really like being able to help and all that stuff. But
yeah, of course.
Anytime you're dealing with people in stressful situations and then kids in stressful situations, it's gonna get a little heated. Like inevitably it always does. And I want to believe that I can always keep my anger in check, but sometimes my irritation levels go to like 100.
Yeah.
So on our team backstage is a good friend of mine who is a kindergarten teacher.
Aw.
And I know, well, and you would know this, right? Your mom's a kindergarten teacher.
Yes.
So
Yep.
like these people have endless patience,
Oh my
like
God.
absolute angels, angels. And the
Yes.
thing with her is like, she is a person who is like super fun to go drinking with, hanging out with. Like she is a delight, but also somehow manages irate and irritating people with total finesse. And to
Mm.
a point where her name is Lindsay, we started saying to ourselves, what would Lindsay do? Anytime we wanted to talk back to someone and tell them, you know what, go talk to your local representative. Instead, I would say to myself, WWLD. And Lindsay would probably say something super delightful and sweet, like the live version of putting a smiley face emoji
Mm.
into conversation. And so the person
Oh,
organizing the recitals gave us all bracelets that say WWLD so that we can get through the time. And believe me, it's helped because there's been a couple of times. I mean, I know some of the parents listen to this. So if you're listening to this, it's not you. But other parents making me crazy. And I was like, nope, breathe. WWLD.
what
And I
would
did
Lindsay do?
ask Lindsay, I said, how do you do this so well? Like, how do you teach kindergartners and deal with parents? And keep in mind, like, I taught high school for a long time, and high school parents are a special breed. I can't even imagine what kindergarten
Sure.
parents are like.
Oh,
Oh my God.
the stories
So,
I've heard.
right? So I'm like, how do you get through it? And she said, a very big bottle of wine. And I
Okay.
went, okay, that all
Yeah.
makes sense to me. Like, I get that.
Right. Yeah, that worked. That
Mhm.
that solved. See, and like my kindergarten teacher at home, hi mom. Um, so she doesn't drink. She's been sober for a while. She never hit rock bottom. She just had heartburn.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she just doesn't she just doesn't drink anymore. And her patience level is out of this world. And it was both at work, but then also at home. My mother raised her voice maybe 2 times in my childhood that I remember.
Wow. Wow.
And most of the time it was because of distance through the home as opposed to anger. So one of my mom's go-to things is never get louder, get lower.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're about ready to yell at someone, it even works, not even just with kids, but when I can feel myself getting ramped up and my heart starts racing, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this fucking argument. Like, here we go. You pissed me off. I'm ready for battle. If I can click into that and I can, instead of wanting to get louder, I go lower, all of a sudden my voice is like this. And I'm ready to let you know how I feel. And because I'm going lower, I'm going slower. And so now I have a chance to actually think about what I'm saying. And so I'm not creating this super hostile environment. I'm not allowing anger to override, right? I mean, don't be wrong. Are there still times where I'm like, you fucking dick? Of course there is.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of the time, lower and slower is going to be one of the ways that you can still feel angry, but you're not communicating in a way where the other person feels like they have to match that type of energy. So it's really helpful. So that's one of the things my mom has given me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, like so helpful. Another thing that she will do, I mean, because she's had some crazy, I mean, so my mom has taught for 40 plus years in pre-K 20 and then in kinder 23 at the same school. So
Gosh.
she has seen it all, heard it all, done it all. And one of the things that I've always noticed with her parents, and one of the things that she does, even if they get her like ramped, ready to go, is I notice that she repeats back to them the main points and then gives reassurance, no matter how angry she is. Because when someone feels heard, they're more likely to hear your side. And so if a parent is acting crazy and they say something, she will say, "Am I understanding that you are saying this?" "Yes." "Okay. Well, I want to assure you that I hear that. We can work through that." Or, "I have not seen this or been aware of this, but from here on out, your child will be this, that, and the other thing." And then what we can do as a team is, if I say blah, 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 or if I need blah, 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 or if I see this happening, I will let you know immediately. Because usually it's a behavior kid who's perfect,
Sure. Yeah, of
right?
course.
It's
Yeah.
always a behavior kid that's perfect. And they're always provoked and they're always, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so my mom will be like, "Okay, so yeah, so I hear that you're saying that your perfect angel has never done anything wrong. I hear that. And I want to reassure you that I love your child and I see the good in them as well. And in the future, when I see them behave in such a way, I will let you know immediately what I saw." So then that way there's no confusion and there's no room for error. How does that sound? And it is incredible because you can use those same skills the other way. Because getting super pissed off and lashing out will never feel as good when you're done with that as finding some sort of resolution or the little monster that lives inside of me winning the argument.
Right.
So if I
Now,
don't really respect you, I want to win the argument. If I love you, I want resolution.
well, I'm going to keep this in mind then the next time that we have a fight.
I
As
love
to,
you, so I want resolution.
I'll be like, she's trying to win this.
She's
Oh,
trying to
God,
win.
it's gotten so bad. Your mom's methods for handling frustrated people and handling anger, brilliant. But I got to tell you, that only works if you happen to be someone where what you're feeling is not written all over your face.
On your face. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's stoic as shit, man.
And see, and if you are a stoic person, if you're able to like school your face into a different thing, then I mean, you've got it made. I feel like these are excellent, excellent tactics. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. Anyone who has ever met me will tell you that everything I'm thinking is written all over my face. And
Me too.
I'll tell you, it's actually one of the things that makes me a pretty decent actor on the stage. Because if I school my brain into thinking what the character is thinking in the moment, then it just is naturally coming out of my face. There's no like forcing it out. I am thinking it and therefore it exists. So that's great.
Right.
But in the moment, like if I'm annoyed, my face fully says
Oh, yeah.
annoyed. And I don't even know I'm doing it half the time. And I'll have a friend near me that just starts cracking up. I'm like, what? They're like, God, your face. You
Right.
are pissed. And I'm like, ugh. Even my daughter the other day, she goes, Mommy, do you know that you have a passive aggressive smile? I was like, what is a passive aggressive smile? This is my 12-year-old who is far too perceptive for her own good. And I was like, what is a passive aggressive smile? She goes, it's the one that you use when you're really trying to be nice, but you're really super annoyed. And I went,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, well, that's great. I was like, do other people see it? She's like, not unless they know you. I'm like, cool. So, I remember when I used to very briefly I was like at the call center for T-Mobile. It was super brief, a million years ago, and dealing with irate customers there. And I learned the best way to deal with it was to just let them talk themselves out. It's just, you
Yep.
just let them get angry and let them go till they just don't have any steam left. And then you can go in to try and fix the issue.
Yep.
But again, that was super helpful for me because they couldn't see my face.
Yeah. No,
If it was a
that's
video
true.
call, there is no winning this. There's no winning.
Whoa. That just like blew my brain a little bit. So the one job that I got promoted the fastest was when I was doing medical billing. We were like outsourced for hospitals in Connecticut. And I've worked through some of the trauma, so now I don't necessarily believe that Connecticut is a shithole and everyone is a monster there. Um, but like, it's not all the way. Like, I am not prejudiced ever, but people from Connecticut were really mean to tiny little
Oh.
18-year-old Carley. I had one guy that would just call me every day and scream "fuck off" into the phone. I think he was working through something. And he never paid his bill, or I would have gotten him on financial assistance because I had everybody on financial assistance because I was like, yeah, these bills are crazy. It's like my little socialistic tendencies. I was like, we shouldn't have to pay for this. You're right. You're indigent. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like every time. But
Awesome.
but I was promoted so quickly, and now I honestly think it's because my face was never seen. They couldn't see my face, and I could mute myself.
Yes, exactly.
What? Again. I'll never do that job again. Absolutely never. You will never get me in a call center or any sort of billing anything ever again. I was paid like $11 an hour back in, 1834. So it was incredible. I was living it up. Unlimited overtime. Like, I was living the dream. But I was also miserable. Like, it was the
Right, of
worst job
course.
ever. But again, that makes so much sense because I knew my face was very reactive. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, since we started this podcast or during the pandemic having webcams all the
Right.
time, I did not realize like how often my face is like this. I
Well,
didn't see
okay.
it until now.
There's a little bit of a difference there. So, you know that there are a lot of people that suffer lifelong
Yeah.
with RBF. Resting
Pl-
bitch face. I
yeah,
know. I
play sad
want the
music.
Sarah McLachlan music.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
The like
struggle.
in the arms of like I want so RBF is a real thing, resting bitch face. And
Yeah.
it's really tough. Now some of us have variations on that.
Yeah.
So I have something called who farted face, which is like
Mm.
my thinking face just looks like I've smelled something really bad.
Oh.
And so it's horrible when I've been watching auditions or I'm in a casting situation. And, you know, like, I think you've seen that. It was
Yes.
like, it was a thing where, my students would be like, oh God, don't look at her face. Or when I was in the theater, people were like, don't look at her. Like, she doesn't mean it because it just looks
Right?
like whatever I'm looking at. I'm super disgusted by it. But really, I'm just thinking.
You're just thinking.
I'm
This
just
is
thinking.
the
My
third
son
down.
he calls it RSF. It's resting sad face. So he
Oh.
just looks like he's on the verge of crying 24/7. But I'm like, buddy, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, best day ever. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, this is like the greatest. Okay. And he goes, did you get taken in by my RSF? Yeah. No, I'm good.
If he ever chooses to weaponize that, he could probably take over the entire world.
God, puppy dog eyes for days. Yeah.
Like those, I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Well, see, I not only have the faces, but I also have little tics when I'm upset or angry. One of which is a scoff that I have that has been pointed out to me primarily by my husband and my sister and people that I have argued with the most of my life. But I guess if you say something that really makes me mad, I let out a specific scoff with a half smile, and then I will start talking or, behaving badly, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, can you do the stuff for us?
So I'm not mad. I wish I could just like tap my husband in really quick because that is the one thing that he will say makes him angry. And he never says that he's ever angry, but when we are in an argument or in a hard talk and I do my okay. And I don't even think that's it because I'm not mad right now. But
'Cause
it's
that alone makes me
it's
want to reach
super
through the computer.
right.
Yeah.
They have full right to hate this. And I don't realize I'm doing it. I don't realize that it's happened. And it's just one of my tics, I guess, or like one of my little verbal things when I'm upset. My other one is I'll lower my brow and look at you like you're stupid and go, okay, okay. When you're saying something that I
Oof.
don't like.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until very recently, where if I don't like what you're saying, I'm mad about it, it's okay. Okay. As if I'm just like
Oh my God.
like it's so bad. But I had a temper as a kid, Holly. I was an angry kid. I was fucking angry. I was gonna ruin your day before you could ruin mine. And I knew people in my family had tempers, but I was the baby of the family. So everybody else had reformed their tempers.
Sure.
So I felt like this wild, out of control kid with these super heightened emotions. And I was just always given that super helpful feedback of take a breath, calm down. And it's like, you don't understand. I can't. This is rage. And through the help of self-work, mindfulness, a couple psychedelic drugs, I have been able to lower my temper. But I still get angry. I do. And I'm not saying that that's unhealthy. People should get angry. You have a right to. But there are times where I can't let shit go.
Right.
And I want to learn how to let shit go. I hold grudges. I do. I can't help it.
And this might be overstepping, but I do think that maybe that's part of being a woman.
If it's part of my feminine mystique, then I'll just
I'm going to
go ahead
say
and keep
yes.
it.
I'm going to say yes. The ability to remember things, and especially the things that really, really did not work for us.
Yeah.
I feel like that is, I don't know. That's like a thing I've been born into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's part of who I am.
Yeah, it's I keep like beautiful ammo boxes, I feel like, and I don't let shit go. I've never felt indifference. I don't know what that feels like. I either feel something very strongly or there's no reaction. A sense of being neutral, which is different than not feeling anything. I don't have that. I don't know how to feel indifferent.
Yeah.
And
No.
I'm working on it.
No. You don't need to, though.
Okay, great.
Because
that is going to save me money in the long run.
Yeah. I think it's important to hang on to some of that. There are words for it. People call it being passionate. Some people say it makes them extra. I find that mildly insulting.
Yeah.
Not that I've been called extra, but I'm saying I like words like passionate
I like
a little
that.
bit better.
Yeah.
Fiery, spicy. Ooh. Yeah. See, these are all the things. This is what we are.
Like a jarred salsa.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a fight and flight person. So my mom was a yeller, and I try not to be. I'm a lot less of a yeller than she is, but it happens when I'm like in it. Ooh, like I'll yell. I don't really yell at my kids, mostly because it doesn't help in those situations.
No.
Where I do yell is at my husband, who is like the king of devil's advocate. Like it doesn't matter what we're doing. He just wants to like argue the other side. And then I'll like yell. And then I walk away and I don't want to like talk to him until he makes me. So, and that's kind of where I live. It's the silent part, like the walking away, that I do maybe too often, because I need to have, the Carley, I want to look for a resolution. But that's tough because I just want to like scream out the thing and walk away. And I've done that a few times, like in road rage moments, and my children have heard me. So I have one that I like when someone is tailgating me, which happens all the time on the highway.
All the time.
And I have screamed out with my children in the car because I just wasn't thinking. If you want to know the color of my underwear, you could at least take me out to dinner first. Yeah.
I like that. That.
Again, really fun to shut out. Not so much when your kids are in the car and they go, Mom, what?
Weird.
I'm like, never mind. I'm just going to change lanes.
When the people that you had to teach how to pee in a toilet judge you, it's very frustrating. It is very, very, very frustrating to me
Right.
as a person because I get judged all the time with that. Well, what would you say are like your biggest anger triggers? Because mine are a sense of injustice.
Oh, yeah.
In high school, I had shout out to Trevor. I won't say your last name, and you wouldn't be caught dead listening to this podcast. So screw you still, bud. But in high school, we were doing a debate of some kind. We were doing like passion projects, and I was raised in the LGBT community, member of LGBT community. And he looked at me and said that my mother should be charged with child endangerment for putting me in an unsafe situation by having me have such perversion in my home by having two women like raise me. I do not condone what happened next. But I definitely picked up a chair and attempted to throw it at him. And that was not appropriate. However, he fucking deserved it.
I mean, fair. Fair.
Like, to have, mind you, my mother is a kindergarten teacher and she's kind and loving and beautiful. And the life skills that I have that make me a good person, I got from my mom. Was she a perfect mom? No, because there's no such thing.
Sure.
But my parents taught me not to hate people. And they also taught me not to be a complete dickbag. So there's that. So yeah, once he said that my mother should be charged with child endangerment for raising me in such perversion, I lost my fucking mind. Lost it. And luckily there were people there that loved me, that didn't want me to catch a charge, and they caught the chair and they helped me. And I didn't even get sent to the principal's office. So that tells me that the adults in the room recognized that I was highly provoked.
Yeah, I don't know that there's any kind of punishment for that. Like,
Yeah.
we call that like Darwin moments. You were
Yeah.
just trying to.
He fucked around and almost found out. So
That's what I want. Is unfortunately, I talk a lot of game. Like, I talk a lot of shit, but
yeah.
I can't back it up. And so when I'm in those moments and somebody has like really provoked me, the worst I can do is I can use like, I've found ways to like, my words have claws, but like I don't like to pull that out
Right.
unless I absolutely have to. And so inevitably I end up like acquiescing to whatever is going on. So there was a time I was pregnant with my son and my water broke while I was teaching, which is crazy, like total film style.
I was
And
there.
weird.
That was my year.
Yes, I remember because I ended up having to text you because I'm being wheeled out to the door to wait for my husband to pick me up, and I'm having these crazy contractions now, and like I'm very scared. It's my first child, and in walks another teacher who I'm supposed to be doing like auditions with at the end of the day, right, for the musical, and he goes, "Well, are you leaving?" Keep in mind, my pants are like soaked from the water, right? Like I'm having contractions. There are people standing around me in a wheelchair. And I go, yeah. And he's like, well, when are you coming back? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm having a baby. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I was like, what are you supposed to do? He goes, yeah, with auditions. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh my God.
Now, I should have just told him, I don't know. How about you just go fuck yourself? But I didn't.
Right.
Instead, I sarcastically say, well, gosh, I guess on the way to the hospital, I could text the stage manager, and let her know that I'm not going to be here today so that she can get any of the extra stuff you need. And he goes, like, I said that like sarcastically.
Yeah.
Right. So he would be like, oh my God, no, like, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. Instead, he goes, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Oh my God.
All right, see you later.
Yep.
And then turned and went back to his classroom. So I did. I texted you on the way to the hospital. But like that kind of thing, the anger that I felt even in the middle of labor to just
like an active fucking labor, like literally like you're about to earth a human being and someone is like, gosh, I'm slightly inconvenienced by this.
And that right there is the thing that ticks me off, is it is traditionally when men
Mm-hmm.
are like telling me how to do a thing while being completely oblivious
Yeah.
to what's going on
And
around them.
incapable. Weaponized incompetence is like, that is one of my biggest fucking things. The man that helped raise me, weaponized incompetence like a fucking bro. Well, I don't know how to do this, so I can't. Well, I'm not smart. I don't know how to work the technology. I know I just broke the TV because I pushed a bunch of buttons out of anger. Now nobody can watch the TV because it's broken. Like,
Weaponized incompetence. That is absolutely, that's it. That's the
mhm,
word. Yep.
yeah. And I can't, well, how am I supposed to do this by myself? Well, how are you leaving the kids with me? What do you mean? I have to go to the grocery store and buy the right products that have been in our fucking pantries and refrigerators for years that I've seen and taken out of the refrigerator. How am I expected to take care of that? How do I know? Huh, stop it. You are incompetent. Stop making it my fault. Rage, 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 rage. Like, those are the things that fly
Yes.
me through the
Rage.
roof.
Well, if it's okay to share now,
You
I
can-
have it's actually not just an affirmation this week.
Yeah.
It's a meditation. Okay. But I can't do the whole thing. It's on YouTube. So
Oh,
you have
okay.
to go look it up. So I can tell you the name of it, and I can tell you some of my favorite pieces.
I love that. Yes. Yes,
But
please.
I
Share.
used to play it all the time when I needed it. I'd pull it up on my phone and I would just listen to it through my headphones and be like, okay. And when you're feeling that rage, that crazy, crazy rage, you pull up something called Fuck That Meditation.
That sounds right
And
up my alley.
it says beautiful things like breathe in good thoughts and breathe out bullshit.
Mm.
Yeah. It'll say things like take a deep breath. Those bitches can't bring you down today. And
Oh,
it's really wonderful.
that's what we
So
need. That's
it
what the
is.
world needs.
It's called the Fuck That Meditation. You can find it on YouTube. Download it. It is. I'll see if I can even put it in the show notes, because it is truly, when you've had one of those days, if you are really adverse to swearing and cursing, A, why are you listening to this podcast? And B, just give it a chance. Give it a chance, because it's really incredibly helpful to get through these frustration moments.
And it feels good to swear sometimes, so try it out. If it's not your thing, it could be.
So guys, I hope that you have a great week this week. I hope that it's calm and full of beautiful, beautiful things. If you get a moment, we would love it if you went and left us a 5-star review and some comments. That's very, very important to us. It also helps out the podcast a lot. The more you put those in, the more this podcast gets recommended in basic searches. So please put out some comments, share with a buddy, share with a friend. We would love to share with more of you guys. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Even TikTok too, guys. Don't forget. We're ticking the talks.
All right, everybody, have a great week. We love you. Bye.